This is the House of Parliament where men and women have sat for decades, making decisions that would affect all our lives. Do they really work in the interests of the people or themselves? They sit at the round tables, trying to decipher which way to turn. Is it left or is it right? Have the people benefited from those decisions? Our people have suffered for far too long. Change should not be a figment of the imagination, but reality. Every boy, every girl, every man, every woman are equally important. The market vendor joyfully sells her produce. The fish vendor skillfully uses his cutlass to cut the fish. Keep on working. Let your smile be your motivation. Build a community of brotherly and sisterly love. Don't give up on your dreams. Surround yourself with positive thinkers. Think big and keep on moving. Keep pushing the envelope. Yes, push that envelope until you have succeeded. You may have made many mistakes, but that is no reason to stop. Don't you dare give up. Get ready for that overflow. Get ready for that breakthrough. The overflow is coming. Showers of blessings. Stay cool. Stay calm. Stay collective. Ride the rough waves of life. Hold on to that rope tightly. Just keep working. Keep moving. Keep believing. Self-motivation. Okay, my people, we are back, okay? But this time it wasn't flow. And we're not upset. Let me tell you what happened. The video we played about the Ponzi scheme, Cheddar Originals blocked the video. That's the people that did the video on the Ponzi scheme. But you know how Facebook is just all over the place? So Facebook blocked the video, blocked our live, so only me and Akeem could have seen it. But all is not lost. We're just gonna send something to Cheddar so that that part of the video could be, of the live, the 36 minutes of the live could be placed back on Facebook. Now, this is why I tell you, I love young people. So people, share the live, tell your friends, come back, you know. We cool. We're not flustered over it because we know it's just a glitch, so we can fix this up. It's just a glitch. So I love young people because I can never do my work and for my work to be lost. Everything is on YouTube. All my YouTubers are, it's still there. So for the first part of the video, of the live, it is on YouTube. Nothing is gone. And that's why I like YouTube. YouTube is such a friendly platform. And what they do, they just put the rights or whatever under your live. They're very friendly. That's why I stream on YouTube. So we are back in business. Share your live. Don't get flustered. It wasn't flow this time. It's just a glitch that happened with Cheddar and our video. So we'll just sort it out with them and for them to put it back. But we'll do that after the show. So we just ended the live and we are coming back again. So everything I am saying is there. And what we can also do, I'm telling you, good technology, having such a wonderful producer, we can use the first part on YouTube and what we have there and amalgamate them. I hope I'm saying the right word. I'm using finance words. Put them together so you see everything I was saying. We bad so, people. We bad so. Now, people, let us go back. I need you to listen. Gather your friends. Gather your friends. Tell them to come. It wasn't flow this time. Gather your friends. Gather your friends. Wow, wow. Y'all came back packing already. Love y'all. Let me tell y'all, my sweet people, I want you to listen to that video that we are going to play in a while. St. Lucia has a Ponzi scheme. And the Ponzi scheme is being used by the governments, whether it's UWP or SLP. But as I said to you, see, Chastney, I love that man. every day I am loving him and I'm going to defend him. And zot ni a mesle mundio lover munio zot ka kwe Lord Bagay. I love him as a person, right? And I believe Shas is really a good person. Chastney and Guy is out of the nastiness and mailing. Take a listen to that video.
Guy Joseph, the new Minister for Economic Development, and Mary Isaac, Minister for Health, toured the site. What they observed was, according to them, vexing.
I think we have reached the point where the project coordinator, where the consultants working on behalf of the government needs to come and explain to the people of St. Lucia why this project has taken 6 years. Why have we seen so many other buildings being built around the core of the hospital, while the hospital, the buildings that are needed for the operations of the hospital is incomplete after 6 years.
You are on that site on the first visit. Shanta is with you. Is Mandish there as well?
No.
In 2016?
No.
Why isn't Mandish there?
From every bit of information that I have, Mandish was very absent from the project.
How could he have been absent from the project when the government was paying him $49,500 a month to manage the project?
Well, that is a question that I cannot answer. That's a question I can answer from now moving forward. But everything that I saw in my reviews was signed by one named Conrad.
Conrad Emmanuel.
And from my knowledge, based on the documentation that I have seen, I went through a list of the registered engineers on the island. I went through the Engineers Registration Board Act, and I do not see the Conrad as a certified engineer in St. Lucia.
The new minister stopped the project, and in an unprecedented move, Halcro Group's contract was terminated. Shanta King's contract was not renewed, and a technical audit was commissioned to ascertain the true state of the project. When the news came that the construction process will be halted and an audit will be conducted, what were your thoughts?
I actually thought that was a good idea. I thought that was a good, because let's go back to what I said a little bit earlier. In fact, I wish that Dr. Anthony had done that when he had taken over, I think in 2011, because to continue in the same vein would be to continue the same process that puts us in the trouble that we're in. So clearly, one had to create a punctuation mark, a full stop, bam, and let us see where we are and then plan from here sensibly.
Did you agree with the project being stopped and an audit being conducted?
It is clear from reading the report that Minister Guy Joseph has been vindicated in relation to his decision to stop the project and to have that review.
The technical audit conducted by FDL Consult determined that out of the 25 buildings which form the facility, most are only 50% complete, except for the ambulance bay and the morgue. The report also determined that most of the emails on behalf of the government of St. Lucia, through the project manager, circumvented the government email server and were instead transmitted from the private email of Shanta King. Retrieval of these emails to validate transactions was therefore impossible. Untold Stories telephoned Shanta King, who is now employed with the Caribbean Development Bank. She was uncooperative, she refused an off-camera interview, and also refused to provide any clarification on anything related to this project. It should be noted that Shanta King also refused to cooperate with the project auditor's FDL Consult as it relates to providing information on her role in the management of this project. We tried contacting Mandish Singh on more than 20 occasions. He never answered or returned any of our calls. So, we waited as he showed up for work.
My name is Dale Elliott from Untold Stories. Would like to ask you a couple questions. Number one, Mr. Singh, why weren't there approved plans for the construction of this hospital? Why didn't your firm ensure that these plans were approved, Mr. Singh? Mr. Singh, why won't you answer our questions? Why did you order millions of dollars worth of equipment for this hospital and now they're useless?
We also sought clarification from Conrad Emmanuel on his professional qualifications and remuneration on this project.
My name is Dale Elliott. I'm trying to reach you about the St. Jude reconstruction project. The question is, Mr. Emmanuel, were you a registered engineer at the time you were participating in that project? Were you working for Palco at the time? What was your role and responsibility? Why won't you answer our questions?
Shortly after airing part 1 of this documentary, Untold Stories was served with threats of legal action by solicitors acting on behalf of Mandish Singh and Conrad Emmanuel. The legal correspondents claimed that a confidentiality clause in the contracts of Mr. Singh and Mr. Emmanuel precludes them from speaking about the project. We contacted the former permanent secretaries of the Ministry of Economic Development. All except Ms. Tracy Polius declined an off-camera interview. We contacted Obi Sadhu, the second main contractor on this project, who was very cooperative. However, he refused an on-camera interview. The technical audit, which cost taxpayers $980,000, was a catalogue of a series of catastrophic engineering, financial, and project management failures.
The technical audit was where our troubles began, because then we realized we do not have DCA approvals. The building is not drawn to it's not built to specifications of a hospital. When I spoke to the plumbers, they told me if you see a sketch that shows that the pipe is running in the right wall, most likely it's in the left wall.
What else did the audit discover?
Audit discovered that every single contract that was issued under this project was by direct award. Over 21 direct awards given under the project. The selection and the pre-selection of contractors, we could not understand. The changing of the scope of works of the hospital, there were so many changes that it was nothing like what was started under the United Workers' Party government, where a project that should have been under $50 million was now finally priced at $176 million.
We have in St. Lucia a travesty of procurement guidelines called direct award that has been used, introduced, from my recollection, by Dr. Kenny Anthony, primarily at the time as a response for emergencies, and has become over the last 15 years the most abused system of procurement within this country. Every government, the SLP government, the UWP government, have pursued direct award as the modus operandi to dealing with the execution of contracts. In fact, ironically, there is a report done, I believe it's by the UN, that looked at procurement. And in the report, it said that 86% of the major contracts in St. Lucia were given by direct award. That is how bad it has come.
The audit also revealed that Conrad Emmanuel, seen here on multiple tours with government officials, who was acting as a site engineer, neither possessed the academic qualifications of an engineer nor the requisite construction supervisory experience. Yet, his salary was increased by 83% during the lifespan of the project, with no increase in his responsibilities or qualifications, from $9,000 monthly to $16,500. His boss, Mandish Singh's salary, increased by 23%, from $38,000 a month to a whopping $49,500 monthly. There were no records to indicate that payments were based on performance matrices. On the contrary, it appeared that payments were made purely on submission of time inputs. Therefore, invoices were honored based on unsubstantiated time inputs. Halco's monthly reimbursable rates also increased by 560% over the duration of the project. With such loose arrangements, the audit report said, it would not be a stretch of the imagination that it was in Mandish Singh's interest to enable the situation in order to extend his services for as long as possible. The audit report also uncovered the unorthodox use of contingency fees of astronomical amounts. This, it said, was highly irregular, as it is the norm for a contingency sum to be retired against a specific activity or inputs, but not paid out as a sum. The audit is littered with hundreds of thousands in payments disguised as contingency payments. A payment review discovered that Halco paid its staff a total of $166,402.61 for the same services already paid for by the government of St. Lucia under the same agreement. This constitutes not only a double payment, but an unethical practice. As a result of this dubious practice, the government of St. Lucia, through Mandish Singh, ordered millions of dollars of specialized equipment, building material, and hospital supplies, and in many cases, paying exorbitant rates as these shipments were expedited years before they were actually needed. It is reported that millions of dollars of specialized hospital equipment have been rendered useless because of the time frame and manner in which they were stored. You were also involved in what the press called Operation Restore Container. You were on television, going to various places, knocking on doors, looking for government property. What was that all about?
When we went through the audit report, the amount of things we found out that had been purchased under the name of St. Jude Hospital project that could not be found anywhere. These were purchased and imported into the island duty-free. In fact, very early in the game, when I came in, I was handed a bill that we have a container sitting on port in the port castries, 2 containers, 2 40-foot containers, that had accumulated demurrage charges or rental charges, not for it overstaying, just for the use of the container, of about $166,000, 2 40-foot containers. We could have built a whole warehouse with that money and stored our things. At least we would have had a warehouse. So immediately I started to see, how could we have allowed all of that to happen? Then I understood there was another set of equipment at Grand Riviere, and there was another set at Marisil, and there was another set at Bizet. All during that time, there is a huge warehouse built as part of the St. Jude project, completed, secured, empty.
One of the most damning condemnations of the execution of this project is highlighted by FDL Consult on page 161 of the audit report. It states, the review of the site planning and audit of each building or structure on the site revealed inefficiencies, exclusions, code violations, and design contradictions that could very well lead to this renovated facility falling victim to the devastation by fire that rendered it unusable initially.
I believe right now I am telling the public the truth, that here was negligent because of lack of proper management. Here went down because of politics.
So during the process when you worked on this, was there ever a time when some of the things that you saw happening, you called into question and you called the project manager or the project consultant and say, listen, you all are getting 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 things. I am not comfortable working with them?
That is a very good question to ask. Yes, but when I called the project manager, which was Santa King at the time, so many times enough that when I questioned her why you are not taking my calls, she will tell me, Do not ask her that question again because she's not working for me. She's not one of my staff. How can I bring up my dissatisfaction to anything to her when she is not taking my calls? You can only talk to people when you have contact with them.
I find it interesting that the morgue and the ambulance bay have both been constructed and also completed to specification and on time. Who were the contractors on that project, and how was it handled differently compared to standard St. Jude?
Well, the management was different.
Why did you agree to this interview?
For the truth to come out, the misled of what took place is not what that was published or been said. So I find it is honest to the public that they know exactly what was going on and what took place and why.
My people, St. Jude is a Ponzi scheme. This is heart-wrenching. A poor country like St. Lucia, heartless people. Now we understand why nothing happens in this country in the right way. You have somebody parading about to be a qualified engineer. He has no experience in construction, in the construction field. So here we are. I am not lying, and like I say, I give a lot of credit to Dale. I went to research. Dale, this was just fantabulous. And we saw someone who's not an engineer. We saw how the salary increased. You saw how the other one, payments were made to him. And I have great respect for the contractor in the hat. I think his name is Mr. Donnelly. I don't know the guy personally, but I watched the whole video, but I couldn't show you everything. But we'll continue on Wednesday. I'll show you a lot of stuff. And I tip my hat to this gentleman because I love honest people. The gentleman said in the interview with Dale, it's not here, but on what I watched before, the gentleman said that he made many attempts to speak to Kenny Anthony as the Prime Minister, but to no avail. I will do that portion for you another time for you to see. Because people, I am here to show you it is not about SLP. It is not about UWP. They are bleeding us dry, and this is not right. There was no DCA approval for this hospital. So you have to think as a St. Lucia now, and not as I am for UWP or SLP. You have to think as a St. Lucia. Now, I saw a supporter of mine said on my wall what Sean Edward allegedly said. And then I'm seeing somebody writing it here again, what he allegedly said. Apparently, they allege he said that if the lady or if the people standing by the St. Jude Hospital, if they don't have shame. Now, it is alleged he said that. Now, if he said that, Sean, shame on you, Sean. But you see, I am showing you here, I am happy I have the evidence for you. Alan, Chastney, and Guy, you're in the clear. So the special prosecutor should be brought for all these people, for the fake professionals, for the politicians, for the former prime ministers. The special prosecutor should be for them. Alan, Chastney, and Guy Joseph have nothing to worry about. Now, my people, it's getting hot. It's getting hot. I want to show it to you all. I want everybody to listen. I'm going to show you part 2 in a bit, but let me just show you. And you know what saddened me, people? When I looked at When I looked at the whole video, both Kenny Anthony and Stevenson King said there were no DCA approval. So all of a sudden, poor Alan Chastney, who just came in the game 2016, he is responsible for all the malfeasance in government? Are you freaking kidding me? The hell? According to Chastney, seriously? You know, Chastney, God is vindicating you. And I'm telling you, Dale Elliott, you need an award. You actually saved St. Lucia. When you did that in 2017, because since in 2017 you did it, right? When you did that in 2017, young man, you had no idea what you were doing. So let me play for you the King video. Listen to what the boy was saying. Listen, my people.
The company is Holier, correct?
Holier Construction.
Holier Construction. You have plans designed for the rebuilding of that technical wing.
Mm-hmm.
Were these plans approved plans by the Ministry of Planning and the Development Control Authority?
Mm-hmm. Well, to answer your question, we were on the move. As to whether the Ministry of Planning or the DC had approved it, honestly, I can't tell you.
You are Minister of Finance.
I am Minister for Finance.
You're Minister of Finance,
yes,
and you're
yes.
Minister for
Mm-hmm.
Economic Affairs dealing with
Mm-hmm.
this project.
Yeah.
The number one thing is
Mm-hmm.
to go into any construction
Mm-hmm.
project, far less a construction project of
Mm-hmm.
that magnitude,
Mm-hmm.
you are the person holding the person responsible.
Mm-hmm.
So the first question is, did Holier, did your ministry and the project
Mm-hmm.
managers have approved plans to begin construction?
Let me just say this. You have a disaster on your hands, a facility has to be built. Your friends have come forward, they've brought you a design, the design is up to international standards. PAHO, WHO were brought on board immediately, they agreed to the plans, we moved.
Are you saying you did not have approved plans?
I'm not saying that we didn't have approved plans.
you
I'm
saying
telling
that you
what
had
I
approved
did.
plans?
The technical details wasn't really mine. My function as Prime Minister and Minister for Finance was to get that facility off the ground. The officials within the Ministry of Finance and other departments dealt with all the details. But it is not
King,
for me to get involved in those
King,
details.
You were Minister of Finance. You were also Economic Affairs Minister. And as such, the buck started and stopped with you to ensure that the man on the ground built the wall in the correct place, the contractor above him did his job, and the project consultant was doing his job. The number one thing to have were blueprints.
The number one thing for me as Prime Minister was to get that job done. The responsibility of the technicians is to walk the footprints, walk the path that they understand must be walked. And that is the rule.
So we're
my
saying
responsibility is to get the job done. I put everything in place to get the job done.
essentially there were no plans.
Whatever.
Initially, there were no plans whatever. The kind of jackasses we had in this country as Prime Minister boggles my freaking mind. Dale Elliott, I don't know why I'm calling you, but Dale Elliott, you had no idea what you were doing for the people of St. Lucia since 2017. You actually saved us, young man. So hear this, King, and this is why people, this is why they were able to have unqualified engineers on site. This is why they were able to have people who have no construction qualifications. I have another damning part to show you. So when they want to blame Alan Chastney and Guy Joseph, Met is the real McCoy. Met Pondazotut, Guy Joseph. I have to bring him back, you know. Not now. Bring him back. Give him a little break. Met Pondazotut, say Guy Joseph. And I want to say thank you to Guy Joseph. When all the other ministers pushed their head in their backsides, You protected Alan Chastney. And I'm going to do my very best as a very honest person and as a very straightforward person. I am going to do my best to protect Alan Chastney also. The Alan Chastney, they tried to show to people that he was a monster. This man is not a monster. Chas is a very cool person. Chas loved us, but we didn't love him. My heart is very heavy. When all the other ministers, you see growth, get a set of young people around you, you will come with an idea, Chas, and they will say, Mr. Chastney, your idea is good, but however, I think maybe we tweak it here, we do something, and we move forward. Chas is that kind of person to listen. All of y'all who are greedy, everybody want to be rich. A little country like that, everybody want to be rich on the average people that work hard backs. Now, my people, have your tissue, have your coffee, have something there, because I am going to show you part 2. Take a listen.
Every time you change the building, you add stuff. Has happened over the years, add on. There were reasons why, I'm told, maybe funds came available, so let's add on some more. And we got some more funds next year, so let's add on some more. If every time you do that, you're going to affect the entire layout of electrical and plumbing. Every single time, and air conditioning. Every time you go break rooms, the AC system would have to be redesigned. The audit report picked up anomalies and errors and gaps in the in meeting fire regulations.
$60,000 was paid for pumping water out of a foundation of this facility. Which foundation of which buildings?
Boy, I'm not sure I can't tell you that. I mean, that's buried works. So in this business, when it's buried, it's gone.
$60,000 gone. Moving forward, you spent $800,000 on an audit. Mm-hmm. The hospital site is shut. Yes. There's no work going on. The people in the south are hemorrhaging. Mm-hmm. The nurses have no idea when they're going to go back to their original home.
People want to make it an issue that we've spent $800,000 for an audit. But we've spent $118 million on a facility that should not have cost us $50 million. And nobody wants to be held accountable for the failings. And I'm telling you, both governments have to take their share of blame for the mess that St. Jude has found itself in. Because there are no approved drawings for the building, we had to get the architect or the consulting firm that did the technical audit to go in and do as-built drawings. So draw the whole building as it is, to submit it to DCA so that DCA understands what is there presently. Then reconfigure it to meet the specifications of a hospital. So where you have the corridors of 1 meter and you need it 2 meters, you need to break down the wall. You have wards that you cannot bring in a stretcher into the ward. You have wards where there's a column in the middle, and for you to move one bed, you have to move all the other beds. We are working on a project to try and get 70 beds into a hospital that should be 115 beds. And we are having a lot of difficulty even getting 70 beds in there. We may have to go down to 60 beds. There were 3 operating theaters identified. Only one meets the specification requirements of an operating theater in terms of square footage. The other two, we have to combine it together to try and make one. We have an area for emergency. You can go and see the door. The ambulance cannot get in there. The space is so small. Where you have to enter with the people is where the persons attending to them is sitting. So we have to build a whole new configuration for the emergency section of the hospital. This is what it is. Without the technical audit, none of this information would be available. And all we would do is finish the nonsense that started out as the hospital. And I refuse. I will take my blows from everybody. But at the end of the day, if I will deliver a project for St. Lucia, I want to deliver a project that I can be proud of. Once we start construction work, I'm giving ourselves 6 months to finish the construction work.
I hear you.
So
I hear you, Mr. Joseph, but this does not sound realistic. I want you to understand that. Because the same words that you're using now, we've heard these words with conviction from Dr. Anthony. We've heard these words with conviction in the House of Assembly from Stephenson King. We've heard them all the time from Alvina Reynolds about moving in dates and so forth and so forth. Now we understand the clear plan from you. We have not decided what it is going to cost, how the government is going to get this money. But there is a 6-month time frame? Come on, Mr. Joseph.
No, you need to understand what I'm saying in the context. If construction work starts in September, then we will finish construction 6 months from September. I did not say we will open the hospital 6 months from September. There's a difference between being able to complete the construction process and being able to open the hospital. The part that I am responsible for is the part of the construction. Urgency of St. Jude, I expect to run 3 shifts there of 24 hours. So I know the work is not easy, but the contractors who are going to come to work, they have to understand that they will run 3 shifts, 24 hours a day.
How much is it going to cost to complete this hospital?
We do not have the final price because we do not have the final drawings. In terms of the budget allocations, there's $19 million allocated for this phase of the project. I have been in discussions with the Prime Minister that the 19 million will not be sufficient for us to complete the hospital. So he is already making provisions so that whatever shortfall of revenue we would have would be available as soon as it is needed so that the construction process can be completed.
The St. Jude reconstruction project can rightly be described as a mess of Herculean proportions. A project originally intended to commence as the reconstruction of a surgical wing mutated into a reconstruction project that spun $118 million out of control. The outcome was a fragmented, poorly planned and executed project which the Ministry of Planning willfully turned a blind eye to, allowing it to spiral exponentially out of control in the form of intent, design, cost, and safety. The question is, who or what was ultimately responsible for this disaster?
The entire management of the project was probably something that was not managed properly.
Were you satisfied with the way Halcro was handling the management of this project?
Certainly, certainly.
Project management, and I'm not saying the project manager, let me be very careful, project management, which is the whole mix, was out of control.
Were you satisfied with the work of Mandish Singh and Shanta King in the management of this project?
I was disappointed because of the delays. There's nobody who got affected by the delays more than I did. It was my constituency. And the truth of the matter was that I wanted to get out of the stadium as much as possible. But the reality of these things, Dale, is simply this, that you can't always get what you want as much as you want the pace to be quick.
Yes, but the question was really, were you satisfied with the management of this project under Shanta King and Mandish Singh?
I'm not going to make a judgment of that based on the delays and so on. What I'm saying is that I certainly was very unhappy that the construction was delayed so much. Although I understand some of the challenges that they would have had, especially with the financing challenges.
Dr. Anthony, I don't even understand. Why would you run away from a question like this?
I'm not running, no. I'm
These
not
are
running away from the question at all.
These are the two people responsible for the project. Under you. And for 4 years, they're giving you incorrect dates.
I am not in the business.
And Mandish.
I'm not in the business of causing injury to the reputation of professional persons. I'm not in that. I'm not going to take that route. If you wish to cast judgment...
Are you satisfied or are you not satisfied? That was the question.
No, my simple answer was that I was disappointed that we were not able to complete the hospital to deliver it to the people of the South, to the people of the country. But I'm not in the business of injuring people's reputations.
Why is this project in such a mess?
Politics. Share politics. Nothing else. Politics, bad management.
There are persons who contributed significantly to the mess that we are.
Like whom?
I would say the project manager and the consultant. If you ask me to pick two persons to hold responsible for this project, because they were being paid hefty sums of money. And I want to believe that when we go into these open-ended projects, the longer the projects go, the more these people get a salary. Why should they have a vested interest in ending the project?
So my people, I tell you, it is a very depressing show tonight because we saw the malfeasance in government, the maladministration of the United Workers' Party under the Stephenson King administration and the Kenny Anthony under the St. Lucia Labour Party administration. The first thing that should have been done were proper drawings presented to the DCA. But this is not even all. I'll show you all when I come back on Wednesday. This is not even all. But I had to show you what we St. Lucians are dealing with. It is very easy to remove blame from yourself and pass it to somebody else. Guy Joseph did the correct thing. He did the correct thing by doing an audit. And you saw what happened when they did that audit. And it was $800,000 for the audit, but it was well spent. Because we are out $118 million, and today look at the rubbish that this new Prime Minister, Philip J. Pierre, wants to go and... Somebody pinch me. Pinch me, somebody. Pinch me. Pinch me. People, what is... This is not even about party. Pinch me. What kind of morons we have run in our country? $180 million have been lost already. And we have a prime minister that wants to go and build the same jackaback. That is not good. Oh Lord. Pinch me, somebody. I need to wake up from this dream. Pinch me. Like, what the hell? Seriously? And Guy Joseph, they started a new hospital, whereas the bottom would have been completed. My people, pinch me, but I want y'all to listen. Mondi, the press secretary, I don't know if she's press secretary or if she's iron secretary, but I want you to listen to the interview I had with Alan Chastney and look at the pain in this man's eyes. My God, people, it is not about party anymore. Let's not do this. This man is saying, forget about me, finish the hospital for the people. This country, this is a Ponzi scheme. We out 180. I want people to be prosecuted. The DPP, the report is in. Now look at the bullshit they're doing. Look at the bullshit they're doing. They did a review of the new St. Jude hospital. Didn't they ask y'all? Didn't in the report? What did the report tell y'all? Didn't they tell y'all continue the hospital? Release the damn report. Philip J. Pierre, if you bad, release the damn report. Go ahead, Mr. Producer.
We'll be there today, tomorrow, day after tomorrow, every single day. I will protest because we need a better hospital. They have to fix the hospital, and I will stand alone to see that happen.
All right. What time did you got here today?
10:30.
And what time do you intend to leave?
4:30.
And when will you be back?
Tomorrow.
Okay. Do you have anything for St. Lucian's watching, and you would like them to, whatever you like them to do? Can you go ahead?
I think St. Lucia are very coward people, set of people. You don't think about what people will think about you, or let's say, oh, I'm afraid people might curse me or something. No, we have to stand. You don't care. We come, we rally, we stand for our country. This nonsense cannot be happening all the time. Who cares about us? Nobody cares about us. We have to do something. If anybody wants to come and join me, feel free. Because I'll be there tomorrow, I'll be there day after tomorrow, and every day.
All right, thank you so very much. So, St. Lucians, there you have it. She's asking us to put politics aside and take a stand for our healthcare here in St. Lucia. So, who's going to be the next person to take this stand? I am Vitus Peter, sending you back over to the studio.
This lady, my hat off to you, because I have always said that St. Lucians are cowards. Even me taking up the role to do what I'm doing. Everybody's like, you're not afraid. They're going to send hitmen. They're going to kill you. They're going to do you this and that. I am covered under the blood of Jesus, and I'm going to continue talking. And just like the lady said, if I have to die for my country, so be it. I'll go and meet my Heavenly Father. But I was told that some people will be joining her tomorrow to protest. St. Lucians, you need to get up. You need to get up and get. Over to you, Mr. Chastney.
Thank you. First of all, I really want to congratulate her, and I'm so sorry that it's come to this, that it may take the public's participation, to bring about a change. So really, what I have to say is not going to solve the problem, but hopefully it gives persons an insight to what we were trying to do and the logic behind what we were trying to do. I can say to you, the intention of my government was to get St. Jude's fixed as fast as possible. It is when I got the first preliminary report that was within the first week. It was so depressing that we commissioned a full study by a company called FDL. People have tried to undermine FDL. I want to say that FDL is a solution company that has done the most amazing work in the region. In fact, CDB's #1 engineering firm throughout the region is FDL.
Wow.
And he has over 160 people employed. So this is a very professional firm with a lot of experience. And we commissioned him to do a study because I just could not believe, honestly, that what the reports I was hearing. When he did this study, which is, the study itself is over 217 pages and has like 3 annexes to it. In a nutshell, what he said was that there was no final plan for the hospital. That they had spent, the building that you see there, they had spent $140 million on that building. And it was estimated that it would take another $100 million to be able to complete the project. But he could not confirm that number because they could not confirm the integrity, the structural integrity of the building itself. But that also the building had many flaws in its design, maintaining international standard. And that the building where they were putting certain services, you would not put those services in those locations. So an example was, when you went on the ground floor, in order to fit in the MRI machine, they had to dig into the ground, which would have been below the ground level, which means it would have been always vulnerable to flooding. The building that was demolished, as an example, they built the building over 2 big trees and the trunks. So they never took out the tree trunks. So the building kept flooding because the tree trunks were still growing and cracking all of the concrete. So I said, okay, the people need to get out of the stadium. How do I downsize the ambition of that project and try to create an opportunity for people to move in? He came back with another report, and that was going to cost minimum $80 million. But he still couldn't confirm that that's what the final amount was going to be. I was very depressed, so. I asked myself, okay, if I was building a hospital from scratch, what would the hospital look like? It would be a box, meaning all the services would be contained in one building. So when you go around the world today and you look at the modern hospitals, that's what they look like. I was on my way to Turks and Caicos after a hurricane, and I asked for the flight to be diverted to go to Cayman, which we did. And I took FDL, I took the Attorney General, and I took Guy Joseph as the Minister of Economic Development with me. And we went to actually see the Cayman Health City operation there. I was blown away. I then had an opportunity to meet with the Premier and members of his cabinet to explain to me what the difference that the hospital made. So they said, because of having that hospital there that was an international standard, it made it easier for people who wanted to purchase real estate and for people who were investing in the country, because they knew that there was an international level of healthcare available to them. We also knew that we wanted to expand through the DSH project. We had already commenced the beginning to do a tripling the size of the airport. And as you know, we were in discussions with getting a cruise ship facility. So it means that if all those things came in that old facility would be grossly inadequate, right? The last thing that helped us make the decision, I said, okay, if I didn't put the hospital in that location and I built the hospital where we're building it now, what would I use that building for? And I said, you know what, this building looks like a great university. And I actually had brought the university that went into Barbados, I brought them to St. Lucia. It's just the building wasn't ready enough, and Mia did a great job in selling them on Barbados. They had a housing complex already for them, and they used the Shelbourne Center. But the reality is there's going to be other opportunities to bring another university there. So it's not to say the building is going to go to waste. The building that we built is a modern building, and it's what we call a smart building. And I want to explain to Solutions what I mean by a smart building. The panels that you see are 1.5 feet. So it's a concrete drywall, a styrofoam, a cavity or space, styrofoam, and then a concrete wall. So what happens is that the cold temperature from the air conditioning is absorbed, and then the heat is absorbed from the outside. They meet in the cavity, so that the humidity now, if there's any, is in the cavity, and the water drops down to a pan on the ground and takes the water outside, so it resolves the mold issue. Because the variation in the temperature now between the outside wall and the inside wall is less, it means that the air conditioner has to work less, okay? Yeah. Also, what the design of the building is for is that none of the piping, the plumbing, or any of the electrical work goes into the walls like you've seen traditionally. It goes, because of the height of the ceilings, it goes in a tray that carries the water and the electrical, and depending on where you have your partition, it then goes on the inside of the wall. So it means that any modification is very easy to make happen, right? So when they say there's no water and there's no electricity, that's not true. All of the electricity stuff is connected to the building. All of the plumbing, all you have to do now is to do the interior stuff, which is on the trays in the ceiling, which is much easier both to put in and if there's any modification that you want to do. There's no tiles, because what you're using is you're using an epoxy now, because the epoxy is hard on the exterior but a little bit soft, so it doesn't absorb anything. It's not porous. So in terms of cleaning it is substantially less.
Exactly.
So the fact is now, the ground floor, which is about 110,000 square feet, is sufficient for the entire operation of the stadium and more to move in. And you would now have upstairs that as you expand and you need more services, you can expand. This idea where they say, oh, but you're going to have construction going upstairs. The construction is done. All you would be doing upstairs is drywall partitions and then putting in your electricity and your plumbing, which is in the ceilings. And it's going to cause no dust. It doesn't affect the operation downstairs one iota. Now, the building that you're showing there, that 220,000 square feet, which is 20% bigger than OKEU, that entire building, as you see there with the panels and all the site preparation that has been done, was $100 million.
Whoa.
Okay? That's $100 million in comparison to $140 million that was already spent on the other building, which is only 50% finished.
Wow.
It would only take $40 million to operationalize downstairs. Now, where Philip Pierre keeps coming in and says, no, it's going to cost you $70 million. It's going to cost you $70 million in cash because the building costs $100 million and $75 million has already been paid, but the contractor is due another $25 million. So you have to pay him this $25 million and then spend another $40 million. Before I left, I had put all of that financing in place.
Wow.
All right, so the documents that he said that was at the AG's office, that's true. But that was in order to all the financing to complete the building, and it would only take 3 months to complete the ground floor, 3 months to operationalize the whole set. Now, the same people who are giving us the technical advice at OKEU, the same people who built that hospital in Cayman, which are now expanding, are the ones who did the ground floor to operation, the design for the ground floor to operationalize it. And we're willing to do all of the training of the St. Jude staff to help them in transitioning over to this issue. So this is just a farce.
This is
I mean,
you're talking, but this is heart-wrenching. I can't believe what is happening in this country. I just can't believe it.
So again, not to proceed with the project. It's not because I wanted, Alan Chastney's project. I wish I could erase that in people's minds if it could get the government to move quicker in moving into the building. But how can you look at that building, speak about being a monstrosity, and say that you have an ambition to modernize your country, that you have a vision for the South of the country? In 9 months, look what's happened to the South. I challenge anybody to contradict me.
Dead.
I mean, I don't know when persons, and look, we lost badly in the South.
Yes.
Labour Party gained support in Labrie, gained support in the 2 Vieux-Fort seats, all right? And we lost Micoud North.
This
on the
is
promise
just
of what?
unbelievable. Nothing, on the promise of nothing. Lies and deceit on the promise of nothing. We expose lies and deceit. Expect us. And I know many people tonight, I know their minds are going. I know many people tonight, their mind has been changed. St. Jude, you see, the American put it the fancy way, they say a Ponzi scheme. But I'm going to put it the Lucian way. This is the biggest bubble scheme in the history of St. Lucia. If you want to challenge me, I taking you all one-on-one. Tonight, thanks for the coffees, everything, but if you want to challenge me, I taking you all one-on-one. First, present the report on the St. Jude review of the new hospital and come challenge me. If you all think you're bad, come challenge me. I debunking your backsides, left, right, and center. I debunking your backsides, left, right, and center. You want to challenge me? And we have a so hot on my live Babono SLP, so hot. Why you don't go and get some new wigs for Virginia? You there on my life harassing my supporters.
Girl, I think we need scripture readings inside of here because this ain't scripture,
God have mercy upon us.
You're on my live harassing sensible people. Even you're being such a jackass that even the SLPs are coming away from y'all. They message me, They message me, probably all of them have said they can never vote for Philippe J. again. Now, what I want you to remember, people, a Ponzi scheme, the nastiest bubble scheme in the history of St. Lucia. Now we have a prime minister who wants to go and finish the nasty buildings that are of no use to be a hospital. You heard what Shah said. He would turn it into a university, which is fine, apropos. Medical university, apropos. But right now, Philippe Mossozonwe is saying he's going to re-beginning, he's going to rebuild, he's going to re-begin, he's going to rebuild. The hell. Philip Mossozonwe is saying he's going to re-beginning, rebuild, renew. This is why our country is not monal. We need our country to return to monalcy. This is what you all voted for, and this is why I am here. And I like the person who became my member for my show, and this person said a supporter. So just continue speaking the truth, continue being you. And this is who I am. I will always continue speaking the truth. And I have Chastney back. I saw somebody write, you know, so have Shaz back. She's always coming and, you know, debunk them. And that should have been done. That's why UWP lost. But let me tell you right now, dragons Chastney have around him. Piranhas. We eating all of y'all. Piranhas he have around him. And the hypocrites that were fighting him, y'all can't be around him. Because a man cannot have such vision. Excuse me, people. A man cannot have such vision. Right? A man cannot have such vision. And for we to throw people right now, it is not about SLP or UW. It is about our survival. St. Jude, let me tell you, you also go back to the video, and I'm going to Wednesday. I don't have a guest on Wednesday, but I will be continue teaching y'all and show y'all all the malpopte. So when they want to point a finger at Alan Chastney, come and debunk me. Bring the St. Jude review. Bring it on. I'm a piranha, right? I'm a piranha. Bring it. Let me debunk you all and challenge you all. You want to dirty the man's name. Let me tell you, thank God guy is a radical. Thank God, because you all would have made that man hang himself, commit suicide. Wickedness. And let me tell you something about people. When they lie on you, they want the whole world to believe them. But always remember, God is always there to defend your cause. And Guy Joseph, walk with your head high. They're going to spend $3 million US on you, nothing. But the special prosecutor, and I am whoever is the director of public prosecution. I know it was Dazarine, Mr. Green, I know it was you. And I am happy that it could be 100 years. You could still prosecute professionals, politicians, fake professionals, fake this. Kenny and King saying they didn't know if Deceit. The hell? Now, my people, I love y'all. I've showed y'all a lot, and, you know, I took it very easy tonight, so I'm going to, you know, rest tomorrow. You know, I'll be back with you live, and I know I'm going to have my TV audience listening. So I have finished with St. Jude. I have to take it and, like, just ring it in them. Prick them in their backside. Prick them so hot. Government, you want to go and bill a people, I love you. I love you all. Thanks for all the love. Thanks for all the coffees. And I will rest and continue healing. And I just want to tell you all I love you all from the bottom of my heart. And we will see you on Wednesday, God willing. Love you. Bye.
We expose lies and deceit. Expect us